The ongoing tensions between Russia and Ukraine have manifested in high commodity prices. Both these countries produce 30% of the world's wheat, and South Africa is a net importer of wheat. This has led to an increase in wheat and maize prices. Consumers are urged to tighten their belts and buy mostly necessities.
The recent spike in wheat prices in the world and the global agricultural food commodities have increased, which means we're likely to see a situation there where the increase in prices on the international market filters through to the local market. And in fact, local prices have responded accordingly. And we are seeing, recent maize, sunflower prices, soybean prices increasing sharply on the local market.
The petrol price is expected to increase further, with international crude oil hovering at around $110 per barrel. Experts say this spells gloom for transport users as taxi fares are likely to increase. Food prices are also likely to shoot up.
It's important to cut down on those non-essential luxuries. So what is important and what is it that you cannot live without and you can't find a substitute for? That's what you need to be spending your money on. Things that you can live without, those will have to go at the back of the queue.
Consumers also face high costs of electricity from April. Households are urged to reduce electricity consumption by switching off geysers during peak periods and their swimming pool pumps. Alternative sources of energy are also recommended.
Do away with the non-essential luxuries if you can, but also try and look for cheaper alternatives in terms of where you're spending money. And try and get as many savings as you possibly can.
With rising inflation, the Reserve Bank has made it clear that rates will continue to go up. This means tough times ahead, particularly for indebted consumers. Economists expect some moderation in prices going forward.
This year's crop is not necessarily that big due to the excessive rains that we had earlier in the season, during the planting season. But the indications are still that we are still going to be sufficiently supplied, and that therefore, when the crop starts coming in, June, July, thereabout, we're likely to see some moderation in prices. But that is dependent on what happens on the international markets, given the fact that we are highly exposed to the international market, and our domestic prices do follow trends on the international market. So if prices on the international market increase sharply, that will pull the domestic prices higher as well.
Interest rates have increased by 50 basis points in the last 6 months. This means that consumers are paying more to service their debt, and this is hitting them hard in the pocket. Managing exposure to credit is one way of ensuring that you can reduce your debt levels and be able to cope when the interest rates go up. Naledi Matlapeng, SABC News, Johannesburg.